What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Paul Talks Patriots. Today, the draft is right around the corner, and there's been some speculation on different routes the Patriots can go. I'm going to dive in on what I think our approach should be at the number 3 overall pick. Well, we've seen the reports about J.J. McCarthy possibly going at 2 to the Commanders all of a sudden. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I think Caleb lock at number 1. Obviously, that's been the case for months. Jaden Daniels, 2 to the Commanders. Well, who does that leave the Patriots with? Drake May out of UNC. The prototypical build quarterback. The Justin Herbert, Josh Allen comparisons. You've heard it with him. You also got J.J. McCarthy, a guy that people really love or really hate. A kid they say is NFL ready. Can run an NFL offense. On top of that, you got wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. Probably the best wide receiver draft pick since Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He's up there with them. Well, in my opinion, yeah, you can draft Marvin Harrison Jr. He's an easy pick. He's going to be a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver at the next level. But if I'm Elliott Wolf and my general manager position is not locked in, I got to take a big swing at quarterback. You can draft Marvin Harrison Jr., but who knows what your record's going to be next year if you pick him. You could screw around and win 6 or 7 games. Find yourself not picking as high as you are this year. Who knows how Jacoby Brissett's going to perform if he gets a weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr. and uses our backfield well. If we build the offensive line and they're better, who knows? Our defense is going to be a top 10 unit in the league. I think that's safe to say. Hopefully, we aren't as bad as we were this past year, next year. But when you build around a quarterback, you never know. Never know how well Jacoby Brissett can perform. With that being said, if we do go the Marvin Harrison Jr. route, there are teams that are projected to have low win totals as the Patriots are next year. Teams that include the Titans. Will Levis is a question mark. Second round pick. He performed well last year. He did all right. He was working with DeAndre Hopkins and a poor offensive line. If he doesn't perform well next year, he was a second round pick. To me, the Titans don't have any problems moving on from him. The Giants, with Daniel Jones, can get rid of his contract. Are they going to eat a lot of dead cap money in that? Yeah. But there's speculations that they were going to draft a quarterback this year. Ultimately, they're going to end up rolling with Daniel Jones again. But I wouldn't be shocked if they had another poor record and picked another quarterback next year. The Vikings have Sam Darnold starting as their quarterback right now for them. I don't think Justin Jefferson's going to like that too much. I think they're going to end up forcing a pick at quarterback this year. But if they don't, they're going to be right there at the top of the draft board next year. The Raiders have Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. Again, a potential team that could force a quarterback pick this year, reach on a quarterback. But if they don't, not going to have too good of a record next year. The Broncos just ate all of Russell Wilson's remaining contract to get rid of him. Now they're starting Jarrett Stidham. Again, another team that could force a quarterback pick, reach on a quarterback this year. But again, if they don't, their franchise is in shambles. They're not looking too good next year. could find themselves at the top of the draft. The Panthers, yes, they just drafted Bryce Young, but they have a new general manager and a new head coach. If Bryce Young doesn't perform, I don't think they would think twice about getting rid of him and bringing in their own new guy to be under center and lead that offense. Looking ahead to next year's draft class also, there's a lot of question marks at the quarterback position. You have Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. You have Quinn Ewers out of Texas. Drew Allaire out of Penn State. Jalen Milroe out of Bama. Georgia's Carson Beck. Connor Wigman out of Texas A&M. And the guy that's been around college football now for an eternity, Dylan Gabriel, who just transferred from Oklahoma to Oregon. Out of those, who really sticks out as a top prospect at the quarterback position? There are a couple you can make a case for, and out of all of them, I am interested to see how Connor Wigman performs next year. Shedeur is projected to go at the top of the draft. Quinn Ewers is projected to go high, and Drew Allaire. When I watch their film, I see nothing special at all. Granted, they're all going to be in college again, and who knows how well they develop, and who knows who comes out of nowhere next year. Jaden Daniels was projected to go day 2, maybe even day 3, and out of nowhere had a Heisman winning season, and now is projected to go top 3. So you never know when that could happen either. But as far as drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. goes, you are not going to find yourself picking number 3 overall again, probably. And on top of that, you don't even know how well the quarterback class is going to be next year. It's not every year you have 3 top end of the first round caliber quarterbacks at your disposal to draft. You look back at the previous 3 years of drafting, it's not guaranteed that this quarterback you draft at number 3 overall is going to be a franchise quarterback. But you look at the recent Super Bowl winners, vast majority are first round picks. You take a look back last year, Bryce Young, question mark, was working with absolutely nothing in Carolina. Can give him another year before we make up our minds about him. CJ Stroud led his team to a playoffs and was in the running for Offensive Player of the Year as a rookie. So we'll give you one there. Anthony Richardson, injured, was looking promising, did not play enough to prove that he is a true Super Bowl contending starting quarterback in the NFL. 2022, the QB class was abysmal. Pittsburgh reached on Kenny Pickett because they were desperate for a quarterback. How did that turn out? Well, not so well. So the last 2 years, you got one quarterback that's proven he is a contending quarterback. 2021, Trevor Lawrence goes first overall. Yeah, he's played well. There's no doubt about it. But is he worth that first overall pick? That's still up to debate for some people. I'll be generous and put him in. Other than that, you got Zach Wilson. You got Trey Lance. You got Justin Fields. And you got Mac Jones. 3 out of the 4 of them aren't even on their team anymore that drafted them. Didn't even finish out their rookie contract. Zach Wilson is the only one that's on the team that drafted him. He's going to be a backup all year. He might not even be on the team next year. So it's no guarantee if you draft a quarterback at 3 overall, they're going to be a Super Bowl contending quarterback. But now you take a look at Super Bowl winners since 2010 that didn't have a first round quarterback. The list is not long. I'm going to leave one player out of this list. You can put 2 and 2 together and figure out who that is. The Saints won with Drew Brees as their quarterback. Now, I would even put an asterisk next to this one because Drew Brees was picked 32nd overall. This was when the NFL had 31 teams. Now, obviously, the 32nd pick is a part of the first round. He was the first pick in the second round. So, I don't even know if that's a true, valid, later than first round quarterback. Next, you have Russell Wilson, who was picked in the third round, also playing with one of the best defenses, if not the best defense that we've seen this century. Great quarterback found in the third round. Okay. Last on the list, the last one, Nick Foles, again, third round pick, playing with a great defense. So yeah, you can wait until the second round. If you're high on Michael Penix, Bo Nix, or past them, whoever you think is good, yeah, you can wait. But odds are it doesn't lead you to a Super Bowl unless you got a top 5 defense to pair him with. You got to swing. Take a swing at 3 if you're Elliott Wolf and go quarterback. Like I said earlier, Caleb Williams is going number 1. That's locked in. There's been no speculation over it. Jaden Daniels is probably going to, I don't care about all that stuff that was mentioned last week about him not liking his visit. At the end of the day, the Commanders are going to pick Jaden Daniels. That leaves Drake May and J.J. McCarthy to choose from. Now, what are you getting with Drake May? Well, you're getting the highest ceiling prospect out of all these quarterbacks. Better than Daniels, better than McCarthy, probably not better than Caleb Williams. Outside of that, easily I would say he has the highest ceiling. He's got a prototypical frame for a quarterback. He's about 6'4", 220. So he's not going to be injury prone like the other quarterbacks are. Jaden Daniels is built like a twig. He's going to snap in half at one point, I think. J.J. McCarthy, he's about 6'2", 210, 215. Not small. Not nearly as big as Drake May, though. Besides that, Drake May is very gifted with his cannon of an arm. He can make yards, 60 yards downfield with ease. And he's got the athleticism to pair with it. If he needs to escape the pocket, he's got the feet to do it. If he needs to pick up a first down on his feet, yeah, he can do that too. But as far as his technique goes, that's where the question marks fly in. He needs to learn how to layer passes. Yeah, he's got a crazy arm strength, but he finds himself whipping balls into windows way too much. Sometimes you're running a corner route, you need to lob the ball, get some touch, get some air under it. He doesn't know how to do that. Doesn't do it too often. That hurts his game, his draft stock. That's scary. He needs to learn how to do that. His footwork definitely needs some refinement. He finds himself stepping to the side, which disturbs his accuracy, throws it off. There are plenty of plays on film where he is 5 yards off target. That's scary. Ultimately, he's going to need a year to learn the system and refine his technique. And he can be a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But he also has the lowest floor. He could be a complete bust in 1 year. You don't know. J.J. McCarthy is probably a safer pick. He's got a higher floor than Drake May. He's got a lower ceiling, a very low ceiling. What you see now is what you're going to get probably. Like I said, his frame is all right. It's going to withstand the hits in the NFL, and he's NFL ready. He runs a more professional offense than a lot of other quarterbacks did. He goes from under center, whereas a lot of college quarterbacks usually are out of shotgun. He's got decent IQ for the game. enough that could get him by to start off a career. His pre-snap reads are good. He does need a little progress, advancement in it, identifying blitzes, and figuring out where to go with the ball if his first option is not open. He found himself getting stuck on his first read, and when it was not open, he resorted to his scrambling, which I will say is pretty good. He can probably scramble better than Drake May. He's a little faster, a little quicker, I should say. But he resorts to it too much. His accuracy, just like Drake May, can be really good, or it can be way off target, concerning. Other than that, J.J. McCarthy has the true intangibles as an NFL quarterback. He's got that winning mentality. He always wants to get better. He is about team. We, not me. I love that about J.J. McCarthy. I think that's his best trait. Outside of that, he has less of a ceiling than Drake May because he's not as athletically gifted. His arm is not as strong as Drake May's. And he also needs to learn when to use a touch pass instead of a bullet pass, like Drake May. But Drake has the potential to be so much better than J.J. McCarthy just based on his athleticism, his arm strength. At the end of the day, Elliott Wolf, his job is on the line. He's not cemented as our general manager. He's getting one shot at this draft. He's got to swing for the fences and take Drake May. That is the answer at 3. Besides that, I did want to go over some notable top 30 visits New England had. First, Michael Penix was in a couple days ago. Now, this completely negates what I was just talking about with the Patriots going with the quarterback at number 3. The reason they got Penix in there, I think, is because if they look to trade back, they could look at Penix in the second round. Ultimately, I think this was just kind of like a formality type of thing. I don't think they're going to even think about going and picking Penix, really. But the fact that he got a top 30 visit doesn't mean nothing. So, that was of note, at least. Besides Penix, Kingsley Suamataia was in the offensive tackle out of BYU, who I've been very high on. I think he's a stud. He can play both guard and tackle on either side of the ball. Kid's a stud. He's going to be really good. Another player, though, that needs some development and can get it. He can play while he's developing. He can play a guard position. He can play right tackle while he develops into a player that can play left tackle for you. I love him as a prospect. I think he's going to be really good wherever he goes. But would be our pick at 34. Another guy who could potentially get picked at 34 that we brought in for a visit, Troy Franklin, the wide receiver out of Oregon. Now, Troy, a lot of people are high on, and a lot of people think he's not going to do anything at the next level. Personally, I haven't watched enough film on him to give you a true analysis of his game and break it down. But from what I saw, I don't think he's going to be that true number 1 wide receiver, but he's got potential to be a very good wide receiver at the next level. He can contribute to a winning team, to say the least, and would be worth a pick at 34. He's projected to go anywhere from the late first round all the way to the mid second round. So you don't know, but another option we could see at 34 for us. We also brought in Javon Baker, the wide receiver out of UCF, Central Florida. He's projected to go in the 3rd round. So a route you could see the Patriots go here is Suamataia at 34 and Javon Baker in the 3rd round. Baker showed promise to me on film that he can be a solid contributor on an offense, more of a number 2 wide receiver instead of that number 1 wide receiver. But a solid wide receiver nonetheless. Another notable top 30 visit that we saw was Joe Milton, the quarterback from Tennessee. Now, Joe Milton, if you look up his stats and stuff, they're not the best. But if you look at his measurements, the kid is a unit. He's like bigger than Drake May, and he's faster. I don't know. I think he might be faster than Jaden Daniels. He is a freak athlete. He's got the best arm in the draft, I would say. His only problem is he can't direct where he's throwing the ball. He's got abysmal accuracy. His defensive reads are poor. So if he can figure that out, yeah, maybe he gets a shot in the NFL. But he's just a flyer pick. See what you can get out of him. Maybe he develops into something great. But odds are he's not. He's going to be a 6th, 7th round pick, possibly undrafted. So, just something of note. Don't be surprised if his name pops up at the end of the draft. But other than that, there's no really telling which way the Patriots are going to go in the 2nd and 3rd round. If you think the Patriots are drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. still, you got to stop. Do not get your hopes up. They haven't really even talked to him at all. It's not a possibility for the Patriots. I say swing for the fences, get Drake May. With that being said, next week I will be dropping my final mock draft with the actual draft coming on Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. I am super excited. I can't wait for this draft to happen. Until then, I will catch you guys. Peace out.